Raider Nation, what's up? Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into everything silver and black. And today, oh man, today is one of those episodes I've been itching to do. We're talking about my brand new, fresh out the oven, post-minicamp, post-Jermaine Pratt signing, 53-man roster prediction for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, before I dive headfirst into this thing, I just want to throw something fun out there for you all. Imagine this, all right? Imagine if we actually built a 53-man roster made up entirely of subscribers from this channel. I mean, with almost 200,000 of you out there, the possibilities are endless. But here's the deal. If you're not subscribed yet, you're basically sitting on the sidelines with no chance of making that dream roster. So hit that button and let me know down in the comments if you think you deserve a spot. All right, with that out of the way, let's get into the real football talk. Every time the Raiders make a big move, whether it's signing a player like Jermaine Pratt or wrapping up an important phase of the offseason like minicamp or OTAs, I like to hit pause, reassess, and give you my updated take on how I think the roster is shaping up. Because let's be real, if the front office had to cut this roster down to 53 players today, there would be some seriously tough decisions. Right now, the Raiders are sitting with 91 players on their current roster. That's a lot of competition, a lot of guys fighting for limited spots. So what I'm going to do here is take you through each position group, depth chart by depth chart, showing you exactly who I'm keeping and why. Let's kick things off with the quarterbacks. It's no surprise here, honestly. You've got Geno Smith, Aiden O'Connell, Cam Miller, and Carter Bradley currently on the squad. And let me be 100% straight with you. There's no debate about who QB1 is. Geno Smith is the guy, period, end of story. After that, it's a battle between AOC and Cam Miller for the backup role. The Raiders invested in Miller through the draft, and while I think both he and Aiden bring something to the table, I'm projecting the team keeps 3 quarterbacks when it's all said and done. That means Carter Bradley likely becomes the odd man out. Now, moving over to the running backs. This room got really interesting after the Raiders used a top 10 pick to grab Ashton Janney. And let me tell you, when you invest that kind of draft capital in a running back, you better believe he's going to see the field a lot. Now, I know Pete Carroll has been tossing around the whole running back by committee thing, but let's be honest, that's just coach speak. They're not going to hand Janney every single carry, but he's clearly going to be the focal point. Beyond Janney, I'm locking in Mostert and McCormick as roster locks. After that, it gets a little murky. You've got Lowy, Zamir White, and Chris Collier battling it out. There's part of me that wonders if Zeus, Zamir White, might actually get squeezed out here. He's trimmed down, looks quicker, but when it comes to that final running back spot, I think special teams value will be the deciding factor. Lois stands out in that area, so for now, I'm giving him the edge. Let's shift gears to the wide receivers. And wow, this room looks different from the last time I did one of these projections. The big risers in my eyes? Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton Jr., these two have been making waves, and if the season started today, they'd probably round out the top 3 along with Jacoby Myers. In past versions of my 53, I've kept 6 receivers, but this time around, I'm rolling with 5. Why? Simple. The Raiders are planning to lean heavily on tight end sets, and that's forced me to shuffle things around. The team drafted 3 wideouts this year, and those 3 are making it alongside Myers and Tucker. Speaking of tight ends, let's talk about that room for a second. Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer are absolute locks. These 2 are going to cause nightmares for defenses in 2 tight end formations. Behind them, Ian Thomas is carving out a role as that steady, reliable T3, exactly what the coaching staff wants. The dude can block, he can contribute in the red zone, and he's got experience. But here's where things get spicy. I think the Raiders carry a 4th tight end, and my surprise pick there is Kadir Ismail. He's long, he's athletic, and from everything I've heard out of minicamp, he's flashing serious receiving ability. If you're keeping only 5 wide receivers, you need someone from the tight end group who can stretch the field a bit, and Ismail seems like that guy. Now, let's move into the trenches with the offensive line. You know, Pete Carroll loves physicality, and the Raiders have been building depth here. The starters are locked in, no question. But behind them, that's where the debates start. The biggest swing I've made this time is putting Thayer Munford back on the list over Dalton Wagner. I've gone back and forth on these 2, but with Munford showing versatility by taking snaps at guard during camp, that gives him the edge for me. Charles Gramble and Caleb Rogers were draft picks, so they're not going anywhere. Jordan Meredith worked as the backup sitter behind Jackson Powers-Johnson during minicamp, so he stays as well. It's a tough call, but with Munford able to provide depth at multiple spots, I feel good about this offensive line group. By the way, before we cross over to the defensive side, a quick side note. This weekend is Father's Day. I was just thinking about grabbing some Raiders gear for my dad, but then I remembered he's not even a Raiders fan. Maybe you're luckier than me in that department. Whether it's for your dad, your kids, your spouse, or even just for yourself, now is probably the best time to snag some silver and black gear before the preseason kicks off. But all right, enough of that. Back to football. Let's flip to the defensive side of the ball now. Starting with the edge rushers, the obvious names are Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson, and Malcolm Kuntz. Those three are absolute locks. No questions there. The big question for me was who grabs that next spot. After hearing consistent positive feedback, I'm giving it to Charles Snowden. The coaching staff and players have been raving about him. The dude has length, he's shown flashes, and some folks in the building are even comparing him to a budget version of Bruce Irvin. Is it a stretch? Maybe. But it's enough for me to give him the nod over guys like Andre Carter or some of the UDFAs who've been floating around conversation. Now, let's talk defensive tackles. This is where things start getting real deep, real fast. Christian Wilkins didn't practice during minicamp, and with that kind of uncertainty, I think the Raiders have to keep 6 defensive tackles just to be safe. Obviously, Wilkins is a lock. They brought back Adam Butler on a nice 3-year deal, so he's not going anywhere. Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pege were both draft picks this year, so pencil them in. Nice FUA has been holding it down at nose tackle during camp. Dude is just a mountain of a human being, so he's on my list too. The final spot goes to John Lala. Multiple players and coaches have told me they're excited about his development, and I think he's going to carve out a role. All right, by this point, we're sitting at 35 players. And now we're heading to what might be the most debated position group on this entire roster, the linebackers. Especially with the Raiders making headlines by signing Jermaine Pratt to a 1-year, over $4 million deal. Pratt instantly becomes the highest-paid linebacker on the squad, and he's an automatic lock for me. Next up, you've got Robert Spillane and Divine Deablo. Those two aren't going anywhere. Cody Lindbergh, their draft pick, is also locked in. Now here's where things get interesting. Amari Gaynor, in my opinion, is the best coverage linebacker on the team outside of Pratt, and I know Max Crosby is super high on this guy. So he stays. And then there's Tommy Eichenberg. I wrestled with this one, I really did. But with the new kickoff rules emphasizing linebacker involvement on special teams, I'm keeping 6 linebackers total, with Eichenberg rounding out the group. Before I dive into secondary, quick side note about our weekly live shows. Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock Eastern. Mondays and Fridays, we're running Madden Sims. Tuesdays and Thursdays are your regular Raiders talk shows. If you think you can beat Fabian Moreno for our monthly MVP, best of luck. All right, back to business. Let's break down the cornerbacks now. This is Pete Carroll's bread and butter. Eric Stokes and Darius Porter have been running as the starters all minicamp long. Jacorian Bennett? He was the team's best corner last year. No way I'm leaving him off. I'm keeping 5 corners overall. The 5th spot is where I had to make a tough call. Cameron Richardson has been a mixed bag from everything I've heard. Some flashes, some rough patches. But when I compare that to the overwhelmingly positive reviews on Porter and Stokes and the proven track record of Bennett, it's clear who's in and who's on the bubble. Darnay Holmes, though, could be a surprise cut if the Raiders decide to stash another young guy or carry an extra safety. Speaking of safeties, this is where the real headaches start. You can only keep 4, and when you look at the list of names fighting for spots, you realize just how loaded this room is. Jeremy Chin and Isaiah Polamau are absolute locks, no debate. Lonnie Johnson Jr. has been working as the 3rd safety during camp, and with his special teams ability and prior experience with defensive backs coach Marcus Robertson, plus his connection with Joe Wood from their New Orleans days, I feel confident slotting him in as well. That leaves 1 spot left. And here's the brutal truth. I'm taking Thomas Harper over Trey Taylor. I hate making that call, I really do. Taylor is a great guy, a Jim Thorpe Award winner, but the way the Raiders are using Harper right now, as a fourth safety, and even taking nickel snaps. That versatility wins him the job for now. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A growing buzz is taking over the NFL world as DAVANTE Adams, one of the most electrifying wide receivers in recent memory, has reportedly opened up about his controversial decision to leave the Las Vegas Raiders. Sources close to the player suggest that Adams has publicly admitted to regretting the move, stirring speculation about his future and the possibility of a dramatic return. Insiders claim that Adams, who was once hailed as the Raiders' cornerstone offensive weapon, has expressed remorse over his departure, saying, "I regret it every single day." This rare admission from a high-profile athlete has sent shockwaves through the league, fueling endless debate about what could have been if Adams had stayed with the Raiders. Fans and analysts alike are now questioning whether the split was premature or ill-advised. Since leaving Las Vegas, Adams' career trajectory has been under intense scrutiny. While his undeniable talent remains unquestioned, some say his current situation doesn't match the potential he could have realized had he remained with the Raiders. Sources hint that Adams' close circle believes the decision to move on was influenced by a combination of factors, from organizational instability to coaching changes, but that the emotional toll has been heavier than anyone expected. The rumor mill is running wild with talk that Adams might be considering a return to Las Vegas, where he was once a fan favorite and a key piece of the franchise's offensive puzzle. Although nothing is confirmed, the idea of Adams donning the Raiders jersey again has ignited conversations across sports media platforms, creating a whirlwind of speculation about potential trades or contract negotiations in the coming months. Further fueling the chatter are murmurs from league insiders who suggest that Adams' candid regret could be a strategic move, subtly signaling his openness to negotiations. Whether this is a genuine expression of remorse or a calculated play remains to be seen, but it's clear that his future is far from settled. The Raiders organization has yet to respond publicly to these claims, keeping fans eager and hopeful for some sort of resolution. As the NFL offseason progresses, all eyes will be on DAVANTE Adams. Will he seek redemption by returning to the Raiders, or is this simply a moment of reflection before he continues forging his path elsewhere? The intrigue surrounding his admission of regret has certainly added a new layer to one of the league's most talked about stories, and fans will be watching closely for any sign of what comes next. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.